Well, the UK champion for Global Food Security Programme, Professor Tim Benton, joins me now. Tim, you've spoken to the forum this morning, been part of the panel looking at transforming the agricultural model. How did you want to influence the debate, and what was your key message?
I think my key message is that we have to transform demand to really transform the agricultural model. Otherwise it will be incremental, slight changes. So that in one sense is, if we are going to hit anywhere close to Paris targets, that requires a very big reorganisation of our food system, which has got to be diet-based. That's can be parked on one side. And then I think the issues around how do you drive sustainability in the kind of narrow and broad senses is how do we create markets by which farmers can produce things in different ways and get the value from that, rather than the drive for ever greater productivity in the sense of lots and lots of kilos and lots of calories, and that leads to largely unsustainable agriculture.
So the big question then is how?
Well,
how do we even begin to start answering that? Give us from your perspective, your experience, where are your energies focused on the how?
Well, my personal interest in my research life is around sustainable agriculture. So I'm at the kind of farming end, but I work across the UK government trying to kind of promote thinking, and I encounter lots of people who are working on the retail side who keep on telling me about the empowerment that will come from consumers wanting to know transparently where their food comes from and having apps and being able to say, I want to buy something that has these properties, and then find it on a Amazon-like website and get it delivered to their home without having to go into a supermarket and get surrounded by 20 things all the same but with different labels, and so you pick on price. So I think the potential for technology to allow the stratification of the market is huge, and we ought to be playing towards that and say, let's support the transition, because the agri-food industry recognises the need for change, and it's just kind of locked into our current business model, and so finding ways to actually help push that transformation in the right direction, I think, is the key thing.
And when you listen to those retailers, what do you make of what you hear?
Given the rate at which largely big data, although it's not necessarily about big data, but new technology is transforming almost everything we do, I can believe it. If you think about the way that we're getting to a situation where everybody can sequence their DNA, and you can start thinking about, given your own genetic profile, what is your previous disposition for this disease or that disease, and therefore if that disease is more likely to be created because you're overweight, then you think about losing weight, because it becomes personalised, and I think we can have personalised food as well as personalised nutrition.
So IT and the innovation there is one of the ways to solving the question how we do this.
So I think if you have demand saying we want these sorts of things, then it gets away from, at the moment there is a relatively limited choice for farmers in terms of what they can produce within their current economic models. And I was talking at an event with farmers in Yorkshire last week, and there was one farmer who was saying, I hate farming the way that I do because I know it is bad for the environment. I want to farm in a different way, but I can't find a way of making it profitable.
How do we even begin to solve that? Because it's a story that you're going to hear time and time again.
So that's what I think about this stratification of the market, because once you get out of I've got to either grow commodity crops or vegetables for the standard retail market, and your margins are going to get cut, then once you get into that, well, I know that there are people in the market who will want to buy artisanal cheese or organic this or something with knobs on that. Then the challenge in the past is how do farmers access that? They haven't had a route. They've sold to the market or they've sold to somebody in the supply chain. And now increasingly there are ways of circumventing that and connecting to consumers who want to buy that sort of produce everywhere. And if you think about the way it is now, if you're a farmer and you want to sell a specialist produce, say a cheese, you have to find a deli. Now, how does that deli sell it? It sells it to people who walk past or word of mouth, etc. And so the deli can only sell to a very small community. and the volumes would be very small. But if that deli can sell online because it has an online presence and then people go to it, then that increases volumes and then you end up in a positive circle rather than a negative circle.
Farmers as entrepreneurs then, really?
Absolutely.
And do your Yorkshire farmers subscribe to that?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
So a final word then in terms of looking at something like a forum today that brings agriculture to meet with environment in the EU policy setting. How important is it to bring everyone together to shine lights on dark corners of the debate?
It's hugely important, but it's only half of the debate because we need to get all of the food chain actors together. So that's people, retailers, and consumer organisations as well.
That would be your call to action.
Yeah, absolutely. To go, because if you just look at the land use system, farmers sell to the market. So to get farmers incentivised to change and give them the financial incentive to change, then you have to also bring in the market determinants.
Professor Tim Benton, we've run out of time. Thank you very much for talking to us today. Enjoy the rest of the forum.